Hello and welcome. Wow. So I'm going to be doing a feature film review of a movie that popped into my Facebook group Horror Central to have a little look at, and so I thought I'd like to do a review on it. Just because it's something I have never seen before, and since I love doing horror reviews on a friend's podcast, I thought I'd give it a go myself, talking about Dariuss, the 2023 movie by Guerrilla Metropolitana. He's an Italian filmmaker based in the UK. He is the independent filmmaker for this 1 hour feature film. He is also the writer, the director, he does photography, the artwork, music, special effects. He does it all. This film was shot on a shoestring budget of around £6,000, which is incredible for what came out of it at the end of the day. There's so much to unpack about this film, so I thought I would give it a comprehensive review from a female point of view, as this filmmaker is sending this around to quite a lot of people to get some traction for it, and since it's something I definitely have not seen in a few years, I thought I'd give it a go. So this was produced by SRS Cinema after it was rejected several times by other producers. The link for this film to purchase it is in the description section below. Now let's take a deep dive into this film and see what all the fuss is about. So this is somewhat a controversial, pushing the boundaries to the very, very limits. It's polarizing. It also got an 8.9 out of 10 from the International Movie Database, which is pretty much virtually impossible to reach that kind of rating in the horror genre at the moment, because as we've seen, there's a lot of stuff out there that is just generic Hollywood rubbish. So anyway, I'm going to try and give you, like I said, a comprehensive look at this. I'm glad that it was sent to me. I've been in contact with Guerrilla Metropolitana. He seems like a very awesome dude. I'm trying to get him onto a friend's podcast soon, so we'll see how that goes along. But let's get into the synopsis. So this film is about the loss of a young girl, and her family is devastated. A remote house in the quiet English countryside of Essex. Each affected family member deals with much pain and loss differently. A hand camera, a woman, red high heels, hair sculpts, and a child. What such a terrible tragedy can cause to an ordinary middle-class family is unbelievable. An unspeakable, sickening, and perverse cinematographic voyage of blood, bodily fluids, and madness like never seen before. This was filmed partially with the use of meta cinema and guerrilla filmmaking style to recreate a whole new shocking level of ultra realism, where underground and dark erotica blend together in a unique way, and where the writer creates a mirror effect story in a profound and intriguing manner. This film leaves no room for sanity. This is Dariuss. The last sentence written in the end of the feature film sums this up in a nutshell. Madness and syphilis have never been so good. End quote. So guerrilla filmmaking obviously is when you just go and do secret locations and film on with limited props and bare minimum crew. And meta cinema, it's a mode of filmmaking that allows the viewer to see that this is actually a work of fiction by exposing some of the actors talking about the production, the making of the production, or where some of the equipment is shown. It's to help to push the narrative that what you're watching is actually fiction. So it's done quite well. This movie, Dariuss, well, it comes with trigger warnings, major ones. Viewer discretion is advised. This feature film contains extreme scenes of murder, erotica, the R word, incest, some nudity, cannibalism, graphic depictions of horror and gore. The ultra realism, it makes us feel like you're watching a snuff film or porn horror, but no, it's so much more than that, trust me. It crosses the boundaries and it pushes the limits, so be warned that you might not be able to get through to the end unless you appreciate the art form. This film is a first of its kind in this day and age for sure. If you think you've watched it all, think again. I had the privilege to watch this yesterday. This horror gore erotica fest feature film, it's not for everybody. Definitely not for the faint of heart, weak stomach, popcorn, horror fans, or highly sensitive people. No. Normies, stay clear at all times. In fact, it has the possibility to make your stomach churn with bile. But if you want to watch something unprecedented to date in the independent filmmaking sphere, this little golden nugget is for you. There is so much to unpack about this film. I'll try my best to give my opinions and experience whilst watching this bizarre, psychedelic, mind-twisting tale of a non-conventional, mortifying portrayal of a family dealing with grief in ways that will either leave you baffled for hours, sickened, or feeling as if you've watched something and you have no idea what the hell just happened. It is about the human psyche and how far a film can take you until you are left pondering life and all its depravity. It's all levels of pure insanity. The madness takes your breath away. This film pushes boundaries I have not seen in years, and if you are brave enough to give it a go, you'll see exactly what I mean. From the introduction right through to the very bitter end, a roller coaster of intense emotions that grabs a hold of you and doesn't relent at all. The intensity level is ramped up to the max, and it does not damper down. There are no quiet moods or tones of lightness. It is constant darkness and bone-chilling visuals, suspense, tension, imagery, sounds, music, camera shots and photography and still shots that each tell their own sad and appalling story. There is nothing implemented into this film that doesn't have a purpose or a goal. The attention to detail is sublime. I do wonder if this film is intended for a male audience more so than us females. Whether it's due to the fact I'm a female reviewing this, I don't know, but if I'm supposed to feel a certain way about this, for its gross factor and the uncomfortable images, I think I handled it very well, considering it is a visceral story about some of the darkest taboos in life. And this will be a relatable story to a lot of people, unfortunately. The ones who understand the complex emotions and torment running through as a major thread and theme. And I think people will identify in some way to the agonizing twists and turns and the full-on hardcore events that occur in this film, and will appreciate the art form it delivers in abundance. Dariuss, although it made me squirm, took me out of my comfort zone, gave me a true sense of the horror in the world, the shock value being enormous and instrumental, it confirms to me that there are movies and filmmakers out there like Guerrilla Metropolitana who can remain true to their vision, regardless of how horrendous it can be for others to ingest. The intimate point of view and the extreme graphic parts is something I've not come across since the era of the 80s, when anything went, when censorship wasn't as rigorous as it is now, an age when horror produced some of our favourite movies of all time. I have not seen anything to this caliber. It's chilling. The sound effects are just downright gruesome. And even without dialogue, yes, you heard that right, there is absolutely no dialogue. But it does not matter in this instance, as it is unnecessary, with the viewer only having to rely on their senses. Total attention is needed to piece the storyline together if you can. And there is a storyline in there somewhere, believe me. Characterization is instrumental in this film. The actors and actresses, they take their role seriously. You can tell this by the way they act out their scenes. It's the characters that keep you invested in the complexities of this film. They have a purpose to present themselves as tormented and devastated characters. They do not disappoint. Visually, I am mind blown. Every camera shot and video clip has a purpose and an intention. Attention to detail is thorough, well developed and precise. Once you get through the intense, intimate elements, the erotica and in your face and body shots, and trust me, there are a few, you can appreciate the film for what it is. A game changer in the world of weird and bizarre horror with a dark, demented twist, giving us full-on experience into the minds and actions of a family broken in every way possible, physically, mentally, emotionally, and a whole heap of other uncomfortable feelings. This film will not bring you joy and happiness. The cinematography is outstanding. It's one thing I really love to focus on when it comes to movie reviews. This has intimate close-up shots that seem to brand themselves into your brain. There are symbolic elements woven in, animalistic, hypnotic, and subliminal messaging that, if you blink, you miss. So pay very close attention the entire way through to after the credits to see what happens. The way the scenes segue seamlessly together is masterful. Although some of the scenes are very brutal, diabolical, and unnerving, we get to see Metropolitana as a master filmmaker. Not only does he deliver a film unmatched and unprecedented for our time, the editing is gripping, inspirational, intimate, and encapsulates the madness this film invokes. The tones ebb from light to dark at the beginning in a wonderfully crafted way. Subtly we see a shift as the intensity level rises. There is excellent use of colour, and then the switches to black and white with psychedelic undertones. It's done with skill. The colour red is a motif throughout the film. We see it everywhere. It's significant to the theme. The tone changes and morphs into dark, moody, and helps to set the scene. Each scene has their own valuable role to play in the storyline, adding layering and texture to the overall plot quite eloquently. I also get the sense of an experimentation happening with the lighting, the sound effects, artwork, camera angles. They make everything visceral and painfully obvious with the point of view you are featuring in the movie, and that is definitely a terrifying experience to say the least. There are elements in this film that push the boundaries on many levels. Horror, as we know, is on a spectrum. Generic Hollywood big budget franchises are turning the horror genre into somewhat of a joke. It's people like Guerrilla Metropolitana who should pave the way for a new type of horror. It's weird, bizarre, terrifying, and all in all, it's a game changer for the world of art house cinema and the extreme horror genre. Yes, it's sickening and graphic in places, but it should be appreciated for its visual and sound effects. The music, cinematography, photography, and art, more so than focusing on the sensitivities this film provokes. The music, as I mentioned, was composed by the filmmaker and a couple of other people. It plays an integral part to enhance the scenes and for setting the tone. It's very moody, dark, creepy, and beautiful all at the same time. The setting for each scene feels and looks authentic and realistic. There are several location changes, but it's easy enough to grasp the totality of the scenes as we shift between first-person point of view and third-person point of view. The first-person point of view gives the viewer a personal and intimate experience, so be warned, it gets messy. I feel the chaos is well enough contained and vital to the story arc, though. I was still thinking about the concept, the storyline, the visuals, and what it all meant well after the film ended. In fact, I'm still thinking about it. It does that. It grips you into a psychedelic conundrum of extreme and graphic horror. Only for those who can hold on to their senses and their stomach acids can get through this film. I commend you if you make it through to the end, but I'm sure you will. As this is an hour long, there is no way I could have gone on very much longer, as the intensity level was so overwhelming. I support independent filmmakers taking a risk. I'm all for vision. I want to and expect to see passion coming from the team behind the scenes. The fact this took nearly an entire year to edit with the help of his friend Archibald Kane tells me that dedication and hard work went into the making of this and what it is now, a highly controversial film for our time. Sometimes the best ones are the ones that keep us thinking how a movie truly makes us feel inside after viewing it. Is it bad to like a feature film like this and to appreciate it for its wonderful elements without people thinking one to be sadistic or psychotic? It made me think about my own moral compass and what is acceptable and what is not in horror. But to tell you the truth, me being an author of dark paranormal horror, I have written stories that push the boundaries too and are just as explicit in content and nature. I've read books 100 times worse than this. I can hear the highly sensitive people screaming at me right now, but please get a grip. Think about it this way. If this was in book form, would there be so much controversy behind it, truthfully? It is only because of the medium and that is presented as a film with in-your-face visuals that is probably causing the fuss behind it, right? So that's food for thought. In an article I read where Metropolitana was being interviewed, he mentioned the toll this film took on his mental health. He had 3 mental breakdowns, and the last one being the most severe. I know a lot about mental illness through my own experiences, so I can sense the pain throughout this film that he must have been feeling and going through. I can see he put his heart and soul into this. And in reality, the world is no worse off having films like this in the horror sphere. Although this is the work of fiction, this is actually true horror at its most diabolical. And there are people all over the world who actually live like this. I highly recommend this to true horror gore fans and for any filmmaker out there who wants to see something brilliant unfold, something to inspire to perhaps. As I mentioned above in the trigger warnings, use your brain. If you think you can handle, good one. If not, look the other way, walk away. Ladies out there, this is an acquired taste, and if you're prone to being triggered, please watch the trailer first, I implore you, before you decide to deep dive into the abyss. I've linked it into the description section below. By the end of this film, I got this sense this is a personal project, perhaps a way to express something dark-seated within the filmmaker himself. Is he facing his own demons? GUERRILLA METROPOLITANA plays the maniac character in the film. As you will see, this film has an element of the demonic, dark, horrid imagery to make even the most desensitized horror fan wonder what the hell they just observed and absorbed. You might walk away from this feeling slightly ill and dirty, or like I did, come away from it with a sense of hope, hoping that we have finally found an independent filmmaker to turn the tide when it comes to the extreme horror genre. Will it take someone of this caliber to save the horror genre from dying off completely, or becoming more CGI rubbish and green screens with terrible writers and lazy filmmakers? Let's hope there are more filmmakers out there like Metropolitana to help save horror before it dies completely. I say give this film a go, see what you think, and if you have any comments, do share. Please, in the comment section, I'd like to know what you think. This has been my review on Dariuss. Please like and subscribe and share this video so that we can get this film off the ground. Metropolitana would greatly appreciate the support. Let's support our independent filmmakers. Links are in the description section below. Hope you enjoyed my review of Dariuss. Have a good evening. Bye for now.